Good morning, everyone. You are listening to Coffee Talk with Samantha and Paul, and we are our New Year's edition, 2019. Isn't this amazing? It's 2019.
Yes, it's a new year. We're trying this new app. It's kind of like a do-it-yourself podcast, it sounds like, with a call-in kind of a thing going here.
Yeah, we have this new Coffee Talk where Samantha and Paul are now the host and the hostess, and we're just going to roll with it, and we're going to talk about what's on our hearts, laid on our hearts from Jesus. So, Paul, what's the new year? First of all, Happy New Year, Paul. What are you and your family doing today for the new year?
We'll see. This is New Year's, so it's kind of low-key actually this year. I know my sister's throwing something, so we'll probably end up crashing at her place. But we'll see how it kind of unfolds from there. But how about yourself? How's your fam doing, and what plans do you have?
Oh, well, for the new year, we're just relaxing. I'm going to do some cooking, pork chops, sauerkraut, bringing the new year the new way. So that brings us to the beginning of Coffee Talk with Samantha and Paul, and we're on the subject of New Year. New year, new beginning, new creation in the Lord. As you know, everyone, God sent Jesus down to the heavens so our sins can be forgiven and we can be made whole through God. And we want to be whole in the Lord. And it's a new year, and it's new times for us to be able to do that. So Paul and I are going to be talking today about how amazing it is to start off a new year thinking that we have a new chance to begin. We have a new chance to begin with God. We have a new chance to begin in our lives. We have a new chance to begin with family. And so Paul, I just really think that it's a new beginning. What's your take on it for the new year?
Yeah. Well, it's like, for me, I'm going to say, that's the one good thing about New Year. It's like, I know we all have, like, resolutions and everything we try to keep to, and we usually end up, throwing those out the window come January 2nd, but, as far as so kind of get back to the board and everything, it's like, it doesn't even have to be necessarily, New Year's Day to do this. Every day you have an opportunity for a new year, so to speak. Every day you have an opportunity that you can get yourself, right with God again.
Exactly.
The way I kind of look at it is, it's like, there's times where it's like, let me cross my heart to be like, God still is keeping my heart beating. He still keeps air in my lungs at the moment. So there must be I must have some worth to him for some reason to still keep on going as I mess up like always.
I do too. And you're right, Paul. You are so right. Because your heart's still beating, my heart's still beating. Our purpose on earth has not been fulfilled yet. So therefore, God has not called us home. Each individual, we have our own purpose. And God gives us that purpose from the day we are born. He knows our purpose before He sends us to this earth. And we have a purpose to fulfill on earth. And once our purpose is fulfilled, God will take us home.
Yes, and I think, I guess just for me, and I hope I speak for others as well, that, it's like, I think as you are, or one that you personally, but if one is pursuing like the Christian life and what you're feeling upon your heart, it's not so much, don't concern yourself so much like, let's say with dogma or anything of that nature. It's more of the spiritual that you have, a spiritual relationship that you have with Christ. He knows that, one can't keep the Ten Commandments well. I mean, we may try to do our best and everything, but it's like, he knows that this is something that it is almost downright impossible for us to do, even though He asks us to try to be perfect like Him. It's just something that we just can't do on our own, and He knows that, and that's why He's there for us to reach out to Him to say, look, help me, Lord, I've blown it again, and again, and again, and again.
Yeah.
I think you're kind of where I'm going with this, and it's like, and there's times where it's like, if you ever feel that it's like you're just hopeless, or feel like you just have so blown it with God, and just like I give up. Just don't, because that's what I would say is like, that's like the devil whispering that to you, saying, you're finished. How could he possibly put up with you? And I'm reminded every single time, but hang on a second, if he was finished with me, I mean, he could have chosen to end my soul or end my life ages ago. Yet, again, he still keeps breathing air in my lungs. He still keeps my heart beating. I must have some worth to him for some reason or another to keep me alive. And there must be love that keeps that going.
Exactly.
It's what I call it an unconditional love.
God's love is very unconditional.
Right, and it's like when we kind of think about that and kind of ponder that, that helps move our souls to kind of come back to Him as well. It's almost a form of, we almost need to be kind of, it's like you almost kind of feel like you're being broken in a good way. It's like, and they're like, you know what, you feel that. It's almost indescribable. I think each feeling that each person has when they kind of come back to Christ is kind of a unique experience that each person has anyway. So that might be just radically different from yours. But I think the one central theme, though, is that concept of, I still have life within me, and God is who's giving me that life. There must be love still there. Otherwise, you could have just said, oh, forget you. I've got 7 billion others I can welcome. I don't need you. He said, no. He doesn't think that way.
Right.
The way I call it, you see, God makes junk. Humans make junk.
God does not make junk, because we are all made in His image.
Right.
We're all made in the image of God.
Right. And He's so patient. And He gives us each what I would consider a lifetime, if that's what it takes for us to all eventually come back to Him. And that's what fills me with hope and everything. And that kind of takes me back to the beginning of a new year. Remember, each day, even if you blow it, on January 2nd, there's still January 3rd, maybe. We'll see.
Yes.
There's still another day. That day that you wake up and there's still life breathed within you. For me, it's like, if it's pressed upon the heart, and I remember that, I'm like, I'm alive again. And it's that feeling of, oh my gosh, I'm alive, that kind of fills me with gratitude. And that's where I start thinking about the fact that, oh my gosh, the abundant mercy and forgiveness that God has. And I'll just say, hey, please, not only please have that mercy and forgiveness on me, but fill me with that too, that I might bestow that on others as well. And I have found then, as I, have received forgiveness upon others, it's like you feel also rejuvenated as well. You feel like weight has been lifted from you.
Right, because God calls us to forgive others the way He forgives us.
Sure.
We are called to love others the way God loves. We are called to forgive others the way God forgives. And you're right, Paul. When you forgive, that heaviness is lifted. That grudge is gone. And you feel so much better knowing that you have forgiven that person. And you're not doing it for them. You're doing it for yourself, number one. Then you're forgiving for the other person.
Yes, but it's also because then, at least for me, it's like you start seeing that person like that person's actually your brother or your sister,
right?
And when you realize that person is also a creation of God, and God still loves that person too,
right? Exactly.
That means that God is truly our Father as well, and you start thinking more of a we and not a me. You know what I'm saying? It's not you and me. It's a we, if you will. You know what I'm saying? And when we start thinking like that, not only, and then gosh, I'm kind of jumping around here slightly, but in the forgiving though, not only is that kind of burden lifted from you, but some of the positive side effects I've experienced is like lowered blood pressure.
Yes, lower blood pressure, lower heartache, and lowered anxiety. I know when I forgive somebody,
yes,
my anxiety lowers.
Yes, you find yourself getting sick a lot less.
Yes.
You know, a lot more. You know, it's not quite as frequent that you get sick. I have found when I am forgiving people, it's like, oh my gosh, I think I've sort of kind of stumbled upon, if you will, the fountain of youth, if you will. And some of it just not that it's really the fountain of youth, but it's like it contributes to that.
Right.
In forgiving others, somehow the positive physical side effects, positive-wise, are you start just feeling healthier. It's a good thing.
Yes, and back to New Year's, Paul. That is one of my resolutions. Actually, for the new year, I want to let go of any grudge I have against anybody. Anybody that had wronged me in 2018 or before. For this new year, I plan on forgiveness. I plan on forgiving them and forgiving myself.
Excellent. You know, because that's even the Lord's Prayer on Our Father. There's that middle part where he says, you know, forgive us, you know, our trespasses.
If we forgive those who trespass against us. That's correct.
Yes, because that's so important, because if you actually really analyze that, if you took a negative spin on that, you could be actually condemning oneself, because you could also be saying to God, don't forgive me as I don't forgive others.
Right, exactly.
You know, and that's the thing is, and it's, I don't think that God necessarily spins it kind of like, well, you didn't do this, so I'm not going to do it for you. I think it's kind of more like, because you are choosing to do this, it's being done through you and to you. So, like, if you choose to forgive, you are simultaneously being forgiven, because you are behaving as God intended you to. And so it'll be almost, shall I say, almost supernaturally natural feeling that as you forgive, you are being forgiven.
Right, exactly.
And so that should almost be part of, you know, it almost should be like in our blood, if you will, to be almost thinking that way, I think. Hopefully, as we enter a new year. And again, something just says, you know, January 1st being the new year, every day you have an opportunity for a new year. We will stumble every day, I guarantee it. It's like,
oh yeah.
What is it like? The most righteous man stumbles 7 times daily. And in other words, no one, we all screw up. There's, it's like, God knows
we're all going to mess up.
You know, yeah, God knows we can't keep the 10 Commandments. That's why He sent Jesus to say, look, just come follow me. I did it all for you. Just come follow me. I will lead you to sanctuary, I promise, you know. You know, forgive and you'll be forgiven. Don't judge and you won't be judged. That's how it works, you know. And when you cling to that, love starts to flow through you as well. God's love starts to flow through you. You start seeing people now as part of your family, part of God's family.
Right. Go back to that. I feel, Paul, like, not to interrupt you, but I feel like in this new year, it's like God is reinforcing in my soul and my spirit to let people know what you sow, you shall reap. So for the beginning of the new year, what you sow into a new year, what you sow into a new day, you shall reap. Whether it be a reward or whether it be if you're sowing negative, you're going to reap negative. So therefore, you got to think positive and you got to sow positively to God.
Yes. Exactly. Even those who believe in karma believe that as well. It's whatever you sow, you shall reap. You know, that still falls into that same category as well. You know, it's almost
right.
It's almost kind of like, well, duh.
Right.
You know, right? So,
it is a well duh feeling, right? Yeah, sure. And so I feel like, honestly, like I put together some things for the new year for Coffee Talk, and like number one. What we just talked about, what you sow and you reap. Because people, for the new year, it's always been in time that people come up with resolutions, and then they feel heartbroken that they don't keep them on the second day. They go back to their own ways. So what would you say, Paul? This is how I feel. I feel the way people can keep their resolutions is, number one, staying focused on God. Excuse me, I still have that laryngitis. I need to kick this. But number two, I feel that in order to keep a resolution, Sorry, everyone. I feel that in order to keep the resolution, you got to stay focused on God. You got to stay positive about it, and don't judge yourself and beat yourself up if you fail. Get back on that horse and ride again.
Sure. Some of the things, yeah, I think even Paul mentioned that as well. It's basically just like, or St. Paul, I should say, it's like if you keep your focus on Christ, don't even worry about yourself. He said, God will add everything to you that you need.
Right.
Just focus on the Father, and everything will be added to you. Another thing also I've found is when you do your and one of the best ways to do your focus on God is like, well, Jesus said, whatever you did to the least of those, or least of my brethren, you did it to me.
Well, that's a great topic. How can they focus on God?
They focus on God by focusing on others. And
focusing on others.
And when you help others, and when you spend your time helping, you're not worried about yourself. You don't even worry about your health per se. When you have your mind focused on aiding others, it could be anything, be it even at your work, whether you're working on a job, you're working on a project together, to something just being like feeding the homeless, whatever it is, whatever your focus is, whether you're in the medical field, engineering, doesn't matter. Whatever your focus is, put your heart and soul into helping and accomplish. And it's even better when you can do it together as a team to accomplish a task. That you put your heart and soul into helping others to accomplish whatever task it is, even if it's just like putting food in some poor person's stomach. Mission accomplished in that, then you're not even worried about your own health, and somehow God will feed you, or God will give you what you need.
And you want to know how you can find that God will give you what you need, Paul? The easiest, most effective way to fully focus on God, in my opinion, is diving into His Word. Following what the Bible teaches. That is the way God can feed your heart, because as we know, the Word, the Bible, is a mapway to heaven. Yeah. God gives us everything we need through the Holy Bible.
And even in the mapway to heaven, even along the road.
Yes, along the road. It's a map. It's a pathway to heaven, I should say.
Right. Even along the path. Although there's a lot of pain to be found along the path as well.
Right.
In hindsight, along with some of that pain, that you will grow from that pain. Though, especially if God was there, you'll see Him that He was there all along, showing love. When you realize that, you'll know you're moving along the path.
Amen. Amen.
Appropriately. And the hindsight will tell you. And again, there'll be signs. There'll be some, be it physical signs, like I was saying, as you find your health improving and whatnot, or even if it's not. In some cases, there might be something that's detrimental, that's harming you, like a cancer or something. That might not improve, but perhaps your soul might be, or perhaps you might be at least getting to a point where you're preparing yourself to be closer to God, whether it be that He needs to take you then and there. Either way, there's several ways of finding through the Bible that the pathway that will lead you to heaven.
Right, right.
It just, and there's so many opportunities that God will give you. But again, I think, at least for the moment, at least for Ryan in my life, and I guess for the New Year as well, is when you do your focus on others, in aiding others,
yeah.
You don't worry about having to feed yourself. It was kind of like, there was this one analogy I remember hearing. It's actually a Chinese proverb that's really talking about necessarily. It's not like Christian per se, but it was interesting two views of heaven and hell. And they said in hell, everyone has arms, everyone has arms that are, let's say, 12 feet long, and they're like chopsticks. And there's a banquet, but everyone tries to, feed them, try to feed themselves with these big long arms, and it's a big mess. They drop it, it's on their face, and sometimes they might get a little nibble, but not much.
Right.
And then in heaven, it's the exact same thing. You have these arms that are 12 inches long, and it's the same banquet, but everyone's well fed because everyone feeds the other person. And so, as you feed others, the other person feeds you, and that's how it works. This person just would stand 12 feet away from you so they can receive the food into their mouth, and then you would receive the food from there as they feed you, and everyone's well fed.
Right, right.
That the proverb can be found out, even though it's not necessarily biblical per se, the principle is still there in the sense of when you focus on others, especially feeding others, not necessarily food perhaps, but be it, spiritual food, knowledge, whatever it is, that somehow
kind gesture, a warm hug. Yes.
God will ensure that either he personally or through a servant of some sort, be another human or wherever the case might be, will feed you that knowledge, feed you that food, feed you that spiritual fuel that you need to keep your soul, growing bright.
Right, Paul, I completely agree. I completely agree with what you were saying. And it's like I was saying back, it's a new year, new season. I feel like next Coffee Talk with Samantha and Paul, we should talk on the seasons of increase, because in the new year, what do people focus on? They focus on increase in their family, increase in financial. A lot of people are struggling. A lot of people are hurting in this world. So the Lord's laying on my spirit that as we start into January, we can talk about our next Coffee Talk with season of increase and how others can be fulfilled during the season as they're getting ready to reap, how they can sow what they want.
Right, exactly. That's good. Absolutely.
So, yeah. Well, Paul, this has been awesome. I'm so glad you're on my show now.
No, it's great. Yeah. It's very illuminating. This is awesome.
Everyone that you don't know, Paul and I are dear friends. Paul's out in California. I'm out in Ohio. And we're doing Coffee Talk with Samantha and Paul. So, everyone, this has been Samantha and
this is Paul coming in from Los Angeles.
Paul's out in Los Angeles. I'm in Canton, Ohio. So, everyone, we wish you a Happy New Year. See you next Saturday. Paul, I will talk to you later. And everyone, happy New Year. See you next Saturday. This has been Coffee Talk with Samantha and Paul. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.